The desire to be a nun was always in me. I never thought of India. I had to get my mother's permission. It was my mother made the sacrifice then, not I. My mother's last words to me before I left was, "Keep up your brave heart, Peg. All will be well." In 1944, I came to India. It took us a full month to come, but I enjoyed that journey by boat. It was a lovely boat. Landed in Bombay, then continued our journey from Bombay down to Madras by train. Arrived in Church Park in Madras on the 8th of December, 1944. One thing that struck me when we landed in Bombay, they seemed to have a love of children. Their attitude to children struck me there. It was something I remembered. Education was our main work because our founders, Nanu Nagel, was emphatic about education. And many of the poor have come up in life because we were able to help them. I've learned so much from the poor in visiting their homes. The legs ready and the heart ready. I loved that work. I am very happy. I've had a very, would I say, fulfilled life. Contented and happy.
Quite a lot of traffic on the road today. These used to be lovely, real country roads kind of in the long ago, you know. Now look at all the... how this place has developed since the flyover was put there.
It's modernised the place.
Well, oh, don't talk.
I went to this presentation convent school in Carrick-on-Suir. One of the sisters there, one of the nuns there, knew some of our nuns from India, and she introduced me to them by letter. So I finished my inter-cert in 1943. I was the youngest girl, and my father had died when we were all small. So my mother was kind of waiting for more of us to be working and helping around a bit. But nuns encouraged us. They knew I wanted to be a nun. So I got the letter one day, left it on the window for days. Then one day took my courage and said, "What do you think of the letter I got?" My mother's answer was, "You're a bit young, but I won't stand in your way." The rich don't seem to want the poor to come up. They want to keep the caste system. They want to keep them down. The poor are still poor. Big buildings and beside them little shacks. Nan O'Neil wanted us out among the people, and mainly the Anglo-Indian community, especially focusing on the poor. Many of those who are in important posts now were educated by our Irish sisters. In 46 and 47, I did my teacher's training in our own campus, our own training institute.
The building opposite this is the building when I came to India over 70 years ago.
How long did you stay here?
I was here in Church Park then from 45 to the end of 48 because I did my teacher's training. I joined the training school. It's a new building now. 70 years ago I did my teacher's training.
You have to go to bed early tonight.
I have, yes.
Yeah. And be relaxed and
Dress up.
dress up for tomorrow.
Oh. Put on my best bib and tucker. I don't feel old. My movements are and all the rest of it. But feelings, I don't feel I'm old.
All right, so shall I tell you the story? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to tell you the story of a very special lady, Loreto. Loreto. She was born in Ireland. She wasn't born Loreto, she was born Peggy, yes. Yes. So when she was a small little girl, she went to a Catholic school, like St. Mary's School here, but she went to the Presentation Convent. And that was the first time she met the sisters. Do you know what the sisters are?
Yeah. Sisters in the church.
In the church, exactly. So when she went to school, the sisters were teaching her and she liked them very much. And she said, I feel in my heart I also want to become a nun. She was 16 years old. She asked her Amma, I want to go to become a nun and I'm going to go abroad. She thought maybe Africa or China. But then, where did she come? She came to India. So never before she had heard of India. She didn't know from such a small country, she was going to a big, huge country with many people. Different language also.
I did not know the language, local language, well. I never had that opportunity to be fully immersed, though we learned the Tamil on board ship. We learned all our letters. In our novitiate training, we learned a little more Tamil. Then I did my teacher's training through the medium of English, for English medium schools. But I was 4 years up in Bihar, among a tribal people. And there were 4 of the loveliest years of my work here in India. They were the tribal people. Their language I learned. So we had a school there and also a little dispensary. One with nature, were real, simple, rural people. To go into a room and put a switch on didn't tide with my memories. To open a tap and get water was not part of my memories. No soap, no oil, you know. They would come to school, the mission fathers would bring them into the school 40, 60 miles, you know. They'd bring them by bus. 2 days later, you get up and they'd be gone. They'd run home all that way. After independence, the community that we worked mostly with when we came to India, the Anglo-Indian community, they began to leave the country. They emigrated for the sake of their children, to give their children some advantage, because naturally the focus would be on sons of the soil, as we should say, you know, the Indian nationalism. But it decreased the proportion of the students in our Anglo-Indian schools. The Anglo-Indian community became less, and the other communities, they increased in number. Here in Perambur, we have the biggest Anglo-Indian population.
I was born in Vilupuram. I'm the eldest of the 15 children. I went to the railway school and convent, Sacred Heart Convent, Vilupuram. Carmelite sisters were there. Carmelite sisters were teaching us. Minimum were the boys, maximum were the girls, because it's a girls' school. Co-education. Of course, I like drawing very much. And then I like history. And of course, English is my favorite. I used to get very high marks in grammar and English composition, text. I like all that. A favorite subject, but my favorite subject was drawing. I was an artist.
Yes.
Now my hands are shivering, I cannot take it away. My grandfather was an artist. He'll put you by the wall to stand here, you'll go there and he'll paint you. He'll paint from there, he'll do the drawing and you will be perfect. The same, this coconut tree, this palm, how it is shriveled up here, all like that. He'll draw that also.
So she became a teacher. She became a teacher and she used to teach five-year-olds. But she taught in English in the school. So it's very good to learn English, right? Isn't it? You're learning English in school?
Yeah.
You're learning English in school, Kamali? Which school do you go to? St. Mary's. And how old are you? You're 6 years old. So like Kamali, Sister Loreto was teaching children same age, 5, 6 years old. She said she was very, very strict. You have a teacher that's strict in class?
I know as a teacher, even at 5 years old, as a teacher in class, I was strict. But class and class. And, but outside, I didn't have enough fingers for them to hold. A past pupil of mine who was in Australia, the teachers in her school were amazed that she could remember her first standard teacher. I was never big in anything, I never put up any building, I never taught high school, I had no letters after my name, but there was something there, the love there.
Local people go to school because post-independence, convents, they opened the doors and they let local people go to school. So as soon as she could go out into the community, not only did she want to teach, but she also wanted to help the people at home. Maybe they needed somebody to talk to, maybe they have problems, worries, and money problems. Whatever problem, she was there.
still she never goes to Ireland.
Yes, she did go to Ireland, but it was a long, long time before the first trip.
After 16 years, I had my first holiday back in Ireland. You know, there was very little change in Ireland in those 16 years, except in the meantime, my mother had died, so I only had my brothers. They were short pants when I left. Now they were grown men with families, one of them, and all my sisters. But it was lovely meeting them. So I was walking along Main Street in Carrick-on-Shore and I met this, one of the Mercy nuns. And now I begin to introduce myself. So I said to her, actually, I'm home from India on holiday. And she told me, I knew you were Indian. When I came back to India, the sound of an aeroplane made me lonely. You know that when I came back there. I was more lonely when I came back after my first holiday than the original time. Then I settled in again. And as the years went on, and we go now more frequently to our home, I come back so relaxed. You know, it's lovely to meet like that, especially when you're away, and I love it when they come to India. And I try and put something extra spuds in the pot.
It's not a secret weapon.
I had some nuns whom I was very close to, of course. One particularly, she was my icon. She knew each child by name. At the smaller school, she knew the homes we came from. She knew our family background, though she never visited me till much later. So she was able to connect all these nuns who were interested in children. And so it made it a very personal, it was a very warm relationship. I have nothing negative about to say. I think they were good people. They lived a Christian life.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was no artificiality. We hardly went to chapel because I was not a... But occasionally, just before exams, all of us would run. We think that's going to help us. So we run to the chapel.
Kamali, what do you do in school? What are you learning in school?
English, maths, EVS.
English, maths and?
EVS.
What is that?
Story one.
Stories? What kind of stories? History stories? School? Teriyappa. Do you do sports?
Sports.
Sports, huh? Running? Are you good at running? Do you like? Did you win any competition? Competition, yes.
Surfing.
Yeah, I taught you surfing, yes? How do you feel when you're surfing?
Happy.
There was a terrific resemblance between the Bengali old music and the old Celtic music. When India got its independence, for a time, we Irish did not have to get residential permits. Ireland was also a country that had been dominated by the British. There was a kind of a rapport. And you probably have noticed the colour of the Irish flag and the Indian flag are the same. Except the Indian flag is horizontal with the wheeled charka is the same in the middle, and the Irish one. The same colours, and the president of India, Giri, and De Valera were great friends. So in the old days, Indians had a kind of a soft spot for the Irish. We're on the same level, you know, ground.
He hasn't aged one bit. The postal photo is the same for I don't know how many years. The fellow in the blue shirt there, you know. Yeah. He's the same age and the posters for how many years, I don't know.
How's your wife fix it if it isn't broken?
Because I was the only Anglo. I was the only Anglo out of all Tamilians there. That is the St. Agnes Seminary in Kadlo NT. That's Kadlo Newtown. So I joined and I learned Latin there for 2 years. I had to learn Latin. It was compulsory in the church. We have to speak, we have to read the Bible, we have to say the prayers in Latin that time. I know to read, write and talk Latin now. Wow. Yeah. And then I was selected for the major seminary in Bangalore, St. Peter's Seminary. From St. Agnes, I went to St. Peter's Seminary, Bangalore, the major seminary. So there were about 500 students and we were 2 Anglo-Indians. So there, whenever after learning Latin, in the minor seminary, I went and learned philosophy for 3 years. And then my father expired in the first year of theology. When I'm going to theology, my father expired.
How she is living?
She's living in a convent.
But she is a good memorizer.
She has a very, very, very good memory, yes.
She is doing a social work?
Yes.
So you said that she lived in India 70 years?
More than 70 years.
Yeah,
more than 70 years, yeah.
How she lived? Because she wanted to have some income for living daily.
Because she's a teacher. She's a teacher and also she is a sister. So in the presentation convent, all the sisters, they live together. They live together, they eat together, and they work together. They share, exactly. So it's a home.
Are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook?
I am.
Brilliant.
Now, won't be phoning me now. Oh, and you. Huh? You. Hello. Hello. Here we are. My last was in 2013. Then at that time, I did not have the intention of not coming again. I could have gone last year. But I said it's better not to. Not that I would not be, I'd be very welcomed. But I would do something foolish. Then I couldn't get back to India. Now, we have to renew our visa now, every year, with this new government. And they haven't given it to me yet. I think one of our sisters, I'm not a whole 100% sure. I think one of our sisters did not renew her visa, and I think she's had to go home.
4-hour package is about 700.
contrast between the rich and the poorest, which you don't see in Ireland. And there are lots of good people, changes for good. But also, as India would say, India is aping too much of the West. But those who say that are the ones who go abroad, you know, not the poor. That girl who was raped in Delhi became world news. That highlighted that, but it's been going on all the time. There's a lovely old Irish song. It was about this young girl who was wandering Ireland, you know, just walking, going around through Ireland. But the line I'll never forget is, "Blessed forever is she who relied on Aaron's honour and on Aaron's pride." Which means she felt safe going through Ireland. Oh no, that's a lot.
Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to everyone here this evening. It is my pleasure and a true privilege to be here on this very special occasion. It is special because of two reasons. One, we have the opportunity to listen to some very talented musicians this evening. And second, we have a very special person, Sister Loreto, who originally belongs to Ireland and has been doing phenomenal work in Chennai. Sister Loreto from Ireland has completed 70 years, as you heard, of her life in India, and she's dedicated all of it in service of humanity. This is a significant achievement, and we are glad to have her in our midst.
Sister, are you looking forward to the gig tonight?
I am. Late Late Show. No, I'm looking forward very much to this program, you know.
In her own words, she landed as a teenager in this foreign land at the age of 17 with full of energy, enthusiasm, and hope of changing the lives and conditions of living of many needy people in our city. She's lived her life here, adapting completely to the different political, climatic, and cultural conditions and rendering yeoman service. She has done us all proud with her life of quiet service and spreading goodwill. On behalf of all of us and on behalf of the Irish Mission in India, I thank you, Sister Loreto, for all your great work and contribution to this country and to humanity.
Well, Irish as such, no.
Do you feel that your work is done here, that the work of the Irish is done here?
We have sown the seed, and we hope the seed will grow. 1 year. I'm in my own hometown of Carrick-on-Suir. By now, the people I don't know are more than the people I know. One distant relation said to one, "You speak English very well, don't you?" Things changed very rapidly in Ireland from the 70s. Personally, I think Ireland got rich too quickly. That's my opinion. That Ireland got rich too quickly. They didn't know how to handle the money they had, you know. They went over. A whole generation, those which have been my sisters' children, their children, grew up not knowing want. I think I'm right there. The whole generation grew up not knowing want. Many of our young people cannot handle just not getting what they want.
Great to hear from you, Peg. It's very good to talk with you.
Isn't it lovely?
Isn't
lovely
it?
We can talk to each other like that.
Absolutely.
And look at the old days, the fireplace and all these days, no?
Yes, we have the kettle at the fireplace, Peg.
The fire lighting, no?
We have the fire lighting, we do.
It's cold, you know?
It is very cold.
I believe it's raining a lot. You're getting a lot of rain, no?
We are for July, Peg. It's very, very wet.
You're keeping well. Yes. We're all reaching that stage. We're all at that stage, I think. Yes, yes.
Hello? I'll go to Jerusalem. Call in just.
I taught here.
And then when did the lay
association? Well, when I was teaching itself, I was invited to be a member of this lay movement. They had just started, and I became one of the members. We were a few of us, many from the parish. This whole movement I would compare to a flute. It's just a piece of bamboo, hollow and dull. But in the master's hands, with the whiff of air blown through it, it's beautiful music, resound, and the whole environment is transformed. So dullness brings vibrant life and action, and sadness turns to joy with this music. So, and joy not just to the receiver, also to the giver. So while we are working, we receive a lot of joy. At least once a week, I try to go out to somebody's home, somebody who's lonely, somebody in need, to help them, to do what we can, at least to cheer them up.
So last week, we had a big celebration. Why?
Birthday.
Because it's 70 years, so it's like an anniversary. So like a wedding anniversary. So when she became a nun, she offered her life to God. Her whole life. So last week, once again, she got married again to God.
சரி ஒரே நிமிஷம் சரி நமக்கு இன்னும் பின்னாடி கற்றுக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்காங்க சாப்பிட்டு
I consider it a great privilege to welcome each one of you to this joyful celebration.
Let me the poet and 100,000 welcome to you.
I hope to be remembered as someone who lived on earth, and I hope to say, when it is finished, I am grateful. I have done my best. I have no regrets. Yes, loving Father, I have no regrets. Your love has carried me through all these years. I know, Lord, there were times when I was down, when I was a bit broken. But Lord, you lifted me up. You mended the broken hearted, Lord. And today, Lord, I have no words with which to thank you for this beautiful expressions of love and gratitude from my loving sisters. It is wonderful, Lord, and beautiful to have with me here today my own lovely nephew Joseph and my dear cousin. And Lord, you know, even the Irish ambassador, right and good with me. From many lovely Irish friends to be with me today, Lord. And you brought loving friends and loving sisters from different parts of India to be with me to share this day. My heart is full of joy. My heart is full of thanksgiving. I thank you.
Man's Wife, sung by Margaret Neal, Leeds, County Waterford.
Oh, the kids and the